Mr. Zimmermann, can you hear us? Yes. Ah, yeah. Hello. Hi, good to see you. How are you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Fine too. Very nice. It's interesting times still. Thank you very much for taking the time to be with us here to talk a little bit about the genesis and the whole idea of the Monheim Triennale. And I would like to jump right in. And since you've been the initiator of the whole idea, I'd like to go back to the very beginning and start asking you, do you remember what inspired you in the first place to launch a contemporary music festival in the city of Monheim?
Yeah, actually it was a bit of a coincidence. We were looking around to initiate something special for the city. The city of Monheim, all the inhabitants are quite enthusiastic about music. We have a lot of students in our local music school. But also we will try to find something to add in professional ways. And then it was quite a coincidence that an employee of Town Hall who was formerly working in Moers, made the contact with Rainer Michalke, the head of the festival, because Mr. Michalke was in former times head of this festival in Moers. And so we got into contact and we've spoken a little bit. First of all, he was kind of like, he was waiting for some positive energy because he was maybe also a little bit pessimistic about his former experiences, and also he wasn't quite willingly to install a festival that could be also part of some inner city things for like retail businesses. So it was quite hard to convince Rainer Michalke, but when we've been to the local music school, it became quite easy because he has got the feeling that it's not for marketing or business purposes that we want to have this festival, but that it's a real wish of the city.
Okay, yeah, I remember kind of a little bit of the process. I came a little later, but still. So there was not a musical focus. You had an idea of a special sound or something, or it was more like the contemporary art kind of professional event. Event is not a good word, but I can't come up with something else now. That was the starting point, right?
Yeah, of course. The main objective is to host a festival that does not exist in this matter, so to create something new. There are a whole range of festivals in every single genre or spectrum of music, and we came up with the idea, and also with Rainer Michalke, to have this festival with contemporary music, also to bring together different artists from all over the world. And this might be very interesting. I think also in a period of time when all over the world people tend to focus on local or national things, we have this slash of nationalism around the world, unfortunately. And this is also, in my opinion, important to have a festival with a broader, with an open-minded view, an international view, and to bring as many different people to the city as possible.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me, of course. And I think the skepticism in the beginning is kind of it's understandable since there are so many festivals around and everybody's trying to get attention. But also I think it's good that we came up with a real new idea. And since, I don't know, the whole thing started 2016, as I recall, is that right?
That's right, yeah.
So we are on a long journey in a way already now, without having a show yet, but still, I think this shows a kind of impressive persistence in pursuing that plan. How did you experience this process? I mean, I remember we had many workshops, like we kind of played together in a way, if you use that musical term. How was that time for you developing this whole conceptual idea?
Well, in my feeling, both sides, those who were responsible for the festival, for the program, and also the responsibles in the city had, got to know each other. So we had a kind of like a process that took some time. Also for Mr. Michalke, the head of the festival, to learn about the city. Also for our institutions within the city, that is the music school or art and cultural education department in town hall. All these people were supposed to come together and to create this common plan, this perspective on the festival. But I think it was worth taking the time, and we have also taken the decision that this should be a festival that only takes place every 3 years. So also when the festivals will be held, we will take our time to prepare the next one after one is finished. And this was also the issue when preparing the very first one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then we have those other principles. I remember developing the idea of the portrait format, like not to invite predefined projects and ready projects, but to invite artists who kind of make the festival together with us. In a way, I was also impressed by again, to use a musical term, improvising together. We've been speaking a lot here with musicians about the improvisation composition, contradiction, or not contradiction, but the balance between the both things. Is this something which is new for you, or probably not? It's something, improvising is something you do also in your non-art life. Is it right?
Yeah, well, in some matters this is right, but I've already mentioned we have a very big, in relation to the size of the city and number of inhabitants, a quite big local music school. More than 2,000 young people from our population of 43,000 inhabitants play an instrument in the music school, and that means they learn. Every single primary school has its own orchestra, which is also kind of special. More than 60% of the young people learn an instrument. So we have a lot of music, a lot of interest in music in the city. And of course, we know a lot of bands like playing cover versions, but also improvising and composing themselves. This will also be like part of the city's culture.
Yeah, definitely. I would like to get a little deeper in the thing with the connection with the music school and stuff. But before, I think we could play our first little video, because you were kindly you choose some videos of artists we invited to the festival, and I think that's very good. Also to see not like me in suggesting the videos, but you did this. And here's the first one from your collection, and it's a piece of Jiha Park from Seoul, which is the city most far away from Monheim, from all the people we invited, and the piece is called Sounds I Heard from the Moon. Yeah, Jiha Park from Seoul. Sounds heard from the moon. Very interesting. Also, in the course of our discussion or talk, the both being there, the known and the nearness of sounds and the distance, like in the development of the piece. Very interesting. You mentioned before, like the music school and the art school, and also the Ulla Hahn House and other institutions working with cultural education. So since I've been living in Monheim now for 1.5 years, I started experiencing that the festival kind of is also a consequence of a longer process, which started way before in cultural education. Do I see that right?
Yeah, and it was not like kind of planned in a big like objective or a strategy, but also to be honest, the city quite came by coincidence to have our own music school, because in very former times this didn't exist, and Monheim was for 1.5 years part of the city of Düsseldorf, and so they had their part of their music school in Monheim. And when Monheim got independent again in the 70s, so this room of music school left there, and the school didn't play any big role in politics or in the city's life. But in the early 2000 years, we had a very ambitious team in the music school, having also the goal to get into contact every single child in Monheim with music. In Germany, we have big problems in general when it comes to education, that the chance of success is quite dependent on the social status of the parents. So when it comes to poor families, there are very few chances that children learn to play an instrument, or that they get to be involved into art or something like that. So this was the big plan, to create equal chances in art, in music, and literature. And the music school was the beginning point. It was quite successful in the last 20 years. As I've already mentioned, around about 60% of all young people in Monheim learn an instrument right now. We have a really huge, enormous variety of bands, of young people playing together. Later on, also the School of Art was established with the same focus, also to create equal access to art and artistic production. And the third and last column of this agenda was then the so-called Ulla Hahn House. Ulla Hahn is a famous contemporary German writer. She grew up here in Monheim. Nowadays she lives in Hamburg, but she's still very closely connected to the city. And the city has purchased her old family's house where she grew up, and we've created a center for literal education there, for cultural education for children, to get into contact with poems, literature, novels, and also.
Yeah, all these things, also the buildings and the building of the music school and the art school is really impressive. Like, we have to show this when people come next year. Also the Ulla Hahn House, of course, in another way is very impressive. What I found interesting is that not only this obvious, I don't mean it like this way of cultural education, like learning an instrument, like having access to artistic expression, is an important part of the cultural philosophy of Monheim, as far as I can see it now. But also like the art in public spaces. And here I would like to mention the sculpture. You of course know what's coming. The sculpture which is going to be established by Thomas Stricker in one of the roundabouts in the city, the Geysirs. I don't want to get too much into it, but there's one thing I read in an interview from you, talking about this, because there were a lot of discussions with people saying, what's this? And we don't need this. And it just costs too much money. We don't want this. And you said, art is not supposed to bring in money. It's supposed to broaden our horizons. And I thought this was really an interesting quote, and gives me a completely different or another aspect of cultural education in this whole context.
Yeah. In my opinion, it's a great pity that especially in Germany, but also in other countries, the role of a city, of a municipality, is quite often seen in a very functional way. So cities have to serve their citizen by picking up the garbage, by cleaning the streets, by investing into infrastructure. But of course, a city, a community, is more than only a service center, and every single also artistic expression, the community idea, all this is as important as the functional services. Because maybe many cities in the region have big problems financing their budgets. People maybe got used to the effect during the last 20, 30 years that cities are not investing into culture anymore. In Monheim, we have fortunately the possibility to do so. And this also brings the responsibility to do it as well. And we want to also confrontate people with art. So it's not the objective, the goal to only bring art to the people that is easily welcomed, but also those pieces of art that are maybe more difficult to understand or to accept. And this is also a matter of tolerance. When I've already spoken about this thing that we are facing worldwide with nationalism, people are getting, in my feeling, unfortunately, more and more intolerant. And this is also a thing that art should focus on, that we have to open the people's minds for things that they don't know, and this is what the art is supposed to bring to Monheim as well.
Yeah, makes perfect sense to me. And but I think still it's we can't emphasize this enough, that the engagement with things we don't know, with artistic expressions we don't know, which are kind of strange, and maybe it's not my taste or something like this, but the engagement, the discussions going along with it is such a big part of cultural education. And usually we are not looking so much in this direction, but I think this is a very special effect or a special aspect of the whole cultural politics in our city, which is really amazing because it's something very special. Okay, here we go again with some music, and I think this video fits very good to the things we said about cultural education and art being a part of a bigger context. And here's Lakeisha Benjamin with "We March On."
You can either live your dreams or live your fears. And I think the majority of people actually are not living their dreams, but are living their fears.
History, despite its wrenching pain, cannot be unlived, but if faced with courage, need not be lived again.
Takes guts, you gotta dig down deep to cut it out, keep on going, again and again and again.
We wake up, we clean up, and we stand up.
You got greatness within you.
March on,
You
y'all.
have the ability to do things that you can't even begin to imagine.
In the face of adversity comes the real, the last seed of romance, let's not digress. Holding on to physical, logical, rational dreams, it's kinda hard to see the destiny inside me. It's a replica book, I feed the vision of shame and greed, I've all forgotten God and glory. I'm struggling, you struggling? I pray to God that I'll pass this life test. I've been digging on my grind, manifesting all this lyrical lubrication to awake and feed into this nation. So as we gather one and all and fight this epic war, we'll march on. What? We'll march on. to find victory. We march on to find the peace we seek. We march on to reclaim our being. We march on, we march on, we march on.
I'm a soldier, and I'm fighting in the battle of life. I'm a warrior, armed with the guns of my pride. I'm looking for a way to be free from who my fears want me to be. I guess I'm gonna stand tall and strong, find the courage to sing my song. 'Cause I choose life. Gotta choose life. Gotta choose you. I choose life. Gotta choose. Gotta choose. So we march on. We march on. Yes, we march on. We march on. So we march on. I'm a fighter, tearing down these walls of shame. I'm a conqueror, no longer will my mind play these frightening games. About to push 'em right through, you see. This ain't the end of the world for me. The fire's been there all along. Found the courage to sing my song. 'Cause I choose life. Gotta choose life. I choose life. What do you choose? Gotta choose for you. So we march on. Yeah. We march on. So we march on. Hey. We march on. So we march on. It's like a jungle sometimes that makes you wonder. It's like a jungle sometimes that makes you wonder how people rolling under. It's like a jungle sometimes that makes you wonder how people rolling under.
Yeah, we march on. Very nice picture for us, like seeing not only having the idea that we want to introduce cultural education to the city, but also that inviting artists who are already into this idea. So this is again is something when you met Rainer Michalke, you didn't have to convince him about this part, did you?
No, not at all.
Because I think this is so important. I mean, also this is not a one-way street. I mean, it's not the artists kind of have to get involved and engaged in this kind of community work too. So now we have a little more time to march on. Unfortunately, in a way, we would have had the festival next week, but we'll have it in 1 year. But we're going to use that time, and I'm for now I'm not so unhappy with having more time and maybe incorporating much more people from the city in next year's festival. But we will have a little show next week. Do you have any special expectations? What we are going to see in 1st of July in Monheim?
You mean the outside
Yes,
concert
yes.
that is planned? Yeah, it will be first like experiment how how the people living in Monheim will react on the first festival part that will be held in 2 weeks' time. And I'm looking forward to that. I mean, it's a small taste of the big thing that we would have expected if the Corona crisis wouldn't have changed the plans. I'm really looking forward. It will be a great opportunity to get this first impression of the pastoral music.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's going to illustrate a lot of things you were saying. about the openness of the city and about the near and far, about the strange and close, and all these different aspects. I'm also really looking forward to that, and also to the time I can spend in Monheim until next year, still keeping up to preparing the whole event coming up next year. I thank you very much, Mr. Zimmermann, for being here with us and having this short chat. We'll meet again probably next week, I think, in the city.
Okay.
Actually, what I wanted to say is that everybody who is also not in Monheim can follow this event, right? It's going to be streamed live.
Of course, yeah.
And one special thing one can actually only experience in Monheim is having the stream and the live music at the same time, which is something Markus Schmickler, who is the composer of the piece, is going to work with. So again, thank you so much. We're gonna play the last video. You did choose an excerpt from Stian Westerhuis' concert as a farewell video, and I say goodbye and see you soon.
Yeah, thank you, and hope to see you all next year in Monheim.
Yeah, we will keep inviting everybody, and we will not give up. Thank you, Mr. Zimmermann.
Okay, thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Vielen Dank auch an alle Zuhörerinnen und Zuhörer. Wir sind nächste Woche nochmal hier, und zwar mit Shabaka Hutchings aus London. Da freue ich mich auch schon super drauf. Wer noch nicht den Newsletter abonniert hat, tut das bitte, weil ihr verpasst sonst möglicherweise wirklich interessante und spannende Sachen. Jetzt schauen wir noch ein Stückchen von dem Video von Stian Westerhuis aus dem Konzert, ich glaube von 2018, bin aber nicht ganz sicher, nagelt mich nicht fest. Alles Gute, bis nächste Woche. Tschüss.